episode, Middle Ground with JLE L.L.C, where we treat you like family. That is the theme song, Detroit Love, off my first album, The JLE Experience. We got another fabulous guest for you today. We have medical student in general surgery, Sabreea Parnell. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you for doing it. Shout out to your friend here for mentioning. So tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Sabreea. I am originally from Oakland, California.
Town.
I've had a long journey. So I was in New York for a little while, and then eventually I was down in Baltimore, where I went to Morgan State University. And from there, I went on to medical school, and now I'm up in Boston. I'm at Boston University, and I'll be graduating in just a couple of months.
Awesome. You can actually go outside and turn up if you want, as they say.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's been a very long 4+ years.
Hey, I understand.
Yeah.
I ain't had that chance in 2020, but hey, get it in.
Yeah.
What led you to this path for general surgery?
So I have always wanted to be a doctor ever since I was a kid. I didn't really get to go to the doctor that often when I was younger, just because we didn't really have insurance all the time. And so, the medical profession was sort of something that has just interested me from afar. And when I got to high school, I worked in a retirement home for all 4 years of high school. And that was the first time I was able to see sort of like a patient provider sort of interaction from a distance. And that, let me believe that I could one day do that too. And so that's what I decided to pursue. And then I got to college, and I had the opportunity to apply to an early medical school program. So my sophomore year of college, I applied to that, and by the grace of God, I was accepted into the program, which started me on this journey now. And then when I got to medical school, you get exposed to lots of different types of medicine. And originally I thought I was going to go into emergency medicine, which really excited me for a long time.
Wow.
But then I had the chance to shadow some surgeons and see what surgeons do. And I just knew that I had to become a surgeon. And so that's really what got me started on this path.
Okay. So what is general surgery and what goes on in there?
Sure. So general surgery is surgery, basically. So it is essentially taking or understanding a disease process that someone may have. And typically it's going to be something that's in the abdomen, so in the belly. So if you have an issue with your gallbladder, if you have an issue with your appendix, surgeons are the people who take that out, and usually it's general surgeons who do that. But I think general surgery is really special and different than many other kinds of surgery because of the fact that it is so broad, and we have to know so many different things about different parts of the body. So if someone comes in and I can identify that they have a problem, say with their leg, that needs surgery, I, as a general surgeon, may be able to fix that problem surgically for them, which I find so fascinating that we get to do so much and know so much about the body. And then from there, general surgeons have so many paths that they can go into. So they can eventually become surgeons who work strictly on your blood vessels or your heart. You can become a surgeon who only works on livers and other organs like that. It's a really special field, and I'm just so lucky that I get to be a part of this.
Yeah, see you smiling the whole time talking about it. That's pretty amazing. You want to cut on people. And all the information you learn about it, so you
just
can
to make them better. Yeah, my goal ultimately is to have patients come to me and then leave feeling better than when they got here. And so if I can do that, and luckily surgeons have the opportunity to identify a problem that is what we can call acute or like a short term thing and
Okay.
fix it with surgery, and then you go home and luckily you don't have that problem anymore in lots of cases. So I was talking about before, if somebody has a problem with their appendix and it needs to come out, not all of them do, but if it does need to come out, I can take it out and now you don't have a problem with your appendix anymore. What is better than that?
Yeah, I mean, you are super smart because that is a lot of information to know. For real. I didn't do that well in chemistry and biology in high school. That was my thing. So, hey, you're a superhero in my book.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
a lot, given you would be in the surgery. If
Yeah.
anything jump off, oh, I could do it. Let's get them prepped.
Yeah. And that's why I like it, because you get to, have that wide breadth of knowledge. That there are lots of other fields where you can have similar knowledge, but for me, surgery is just what did it.
Yeah. Now I see you say you have a degree in chemistry from
I do
Morgan
have a degree in
State.
chemistry.
That's like a left turn to Albuquerque. Bugs Bunny would say to go to general surgery.
maybe, yeah. So I always knew that I wanted to go to medical school, and so for me, college was almost a means to an end.
Okay.
So when I got to college, I thought, how can I make this 4 years go as smoothly as possible for me? I need to major in something that I'm going to enjoy. And so in high school, I really loved my chemistry class. I had the most amazing chemistry teacher. Her name was Anne Horais. And so when I got to college, it was a no brainer. A lot of people who go to medical school end up majoring in like biology or something like that. But
Mhm.
I sort of found that a little boring to me.
Mm.
And chemistry, like I said, I had always loved since high school, so I just pursued that in college as well. And it's not that far off from medicine in just
No,
you have to
no, you
know.
got you
So
right.
in chemistry, you have to think of lots of complex problems, which is what I do now in medicine. They're just different problems.
She ain't blow nothing up along the way. Let's
No,
see
no.
if these
I don't
two
think
work
have I blown
together.
anything up? I don't think I've blown anything up,
Hey,
no.
it's smoking.
Definitely not. Luckily at Morgan, we have some great professors who keep us safe. Because yeah, I don't know if they should have trusted us with all the things
Yeah,
that we got to do.
we had a few cats like, hey, teach, you can go over there because
Yeah,
I don't know what that color of that smoke is, but I don't see that shit going on.
yeah, yeah.
That is awesome. So, what would you say is the difference at Boston University School of Medicine compared to Morgan State University?
Ooh, that's a great question. So, first things first, Boston University is a PWI, and Morgan State is an HBCU, and so there's already going to be some very inherent differences there. I
Mm-hmm.
think Morgan was such an amazing experience, and I love that I was able to go to an HBCU because it was the first time in my life where I walked into a room and all of the smart people looked like me. Um,
I got the
and
experience.
that wasn't something that needed to be questioned ever. When I was younger, it almost felt like, being a black smart kid around people who weren't black almost um, seemed like you were like either doing something wrong or something to be an exception of. But then I
Mm-hmm.
got to college and we were all the smart kids. And so I think that's one of the biggest differences. I think at Morgan, I felt so genuinely loved by all of my faculty. There, like everybody just has your best interest at heart. If there's a scholarship that somebody knows about that they think that you would be good for, they're always knocking on your door being like, "Hey, Sabreea, you need to apply for this."
Okay.
If you need anything, there were lots of times at Morgan where I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it to the next semester because I couldn't afford it, and I had my chair of chemistry say, "Hey, I will talk to the honors program for you, and we can see what we can do."
Oh,
And
that's
that's how I made it through. Boston, it's a college like any other now. I think there's not necessarily that uh, I
from
don't
the
have that same feeling that I had at Morgan where everybody is like me and that just feels comfortable. It's
Mhm.
sort of like it's like the rest of the world. And so I move about being at a PWI the same way that I would as if I was anywhere else in the country. And so there's not necessarily that special feeling that you have being surrounded by people who look like you, but Boston
Mhm.
University is a great place.
Okay, I know I went to an elementary school that was mixed. Huber Elementary in Detroit, and they were rich. I mean, they had two of everything: computer rooms, auditoriums, lunch rooms,
Mhm.
everything. Like, wow. But you would notice that if you was a smart black kid in the class, like, oh, they do know something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you smart too.
Right. Right.
No, we got all this crap on TV in the 80s saying, they're just a bunch of hooligans, blah, blah. No, we're nerds too.
Yeah. And I felt like, being at Morgan, like I didn't feel like I needed to prove myself to anybody because there was, we were all there for the same reason. And
Mhm.
and one thing I always say special about HBCUs, and I think lots of people disagree with this, but I don't really care. But I think what's interesting is that when you're at a PWI and you're black, or you're any other racial minority, a lot of times your connections with the people who are similar to you are because they look like you. And of course, like you can make different connections, like you can make deeper connections along the way. But I think initially that's what happened, and that's sort of what happened to me when I first started here at BU. I was like, "Ooh, there are black people there. Let's talk." And I think that was always sort of um, a way that people began to make friends. Whereas at Morgan, everybody's not everybody's black, but most of us are. And so I don't need to seek out the other black people to be friends with. I can just be friends with you because we have this very specific shared interest.
Yeah, and it's no knock on our Caucasian brothers and sisters,
Absolutely not.
anybody else. Just you relate to people that look like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Representation does matter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know. Do you have any challenges along the way of this journey?
Oh, too many to count, honestly.
It's hard out here
um,
in medicine. What?
Yeah, oh yeah.
For
Medicine
real? Like
is
that?
not an easy road at all. I think it's very rewarding, but it's certainly not easy. And especially for me, I told you before my whole family is back in the Bay Area. I didn't grow up a well-off person by any stretch of the imagination. There were times when I was younger where, we were homeless, and
Oh my
so trying to get through that, knowing that I wanted to go to college and didn't know how we were ever gonna afford it. And so I worked. I worked and I worked and I worked and I saved and I worked so that I could get to college. And then when I first went to college, I was actually in college in New York, not at Morgan. I went to
God.
a school and was only able to stay for a semester because I couldn't afford to stay any longer. And so, that was quite devastating for me, and that was a major setback. And so I had to go home and I worked for 3 years just trying to save money to be able to go back to college. And then that's how I ended up at Morgan after that. But yeah, that was a pretty big struggle and setback that I had to overcome. And then, while I was at Morgan, I worked full time as a full time student and I did
Been there.
research. Um, so there wasn't a lot of extra time because I was trying to make sure that I could afford to eat or have a place to live. Um, and so, you just you go through those things and also need to stay you need to keep your good grades so that you can keep any
Yeah.
scholarship that you have and those
Yeah.
things. So lots of sleepless nights trying to make sure that I maintained my GPA.
Hey, you got it out the mud. I'm right there with you. I understand that because the
Yeah.
homeless, your determination is unparalleled because some people crack.
Yeah, that's
Just kept
true.
your
That's
eyes on
true.
the focus.
Yeah. I
Grind
think
it
for
out.
me, what it was is I knew where I had come from and I knew where I wanted to go. And I
Mhm.
had no other options to get to where I wanted to be other than to try to work through it. Right. Like I knew I've known since I was 6 that I was going to
Okay.
be a doctor. There was no question in my mind that I was going to be a doctor. What I didn't know was how I was going to get there. All of those pieces in the middle were just the stepping
Mm-hmm.
stones that I needed to take to fill in the blank. But I knew that I was going to be a doctor. And so because I knew that about myself, um, there wasn't really a plan B. I kind of had to just do whatever it was going to take to get me there. I thought about switching my major to journalism or something and maybe like doing news broadcasting, but I wouldn't have been happy with that, and so I just had to keep going.
Yeah, nah. Nah, you getting your Big Bang Theory on. I don't even see that. You saying it like, nah, I don't see her doing no news. Nope. You
Yeah.
sound like the one, no, you need to cut right there. Get out the way. I got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I see that. And that's dope.
Thanks.
Now, do y'all have like your own groups, like a student union or something for medical students?
Do you mean like for like minority medical students or?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So the most well-known group is called the Student National Medical Association, or SNMA. That is a group that is specifically geared towards supporting and facilitating a positive learning environment for students of color who are
Mm-hmm.
in medicine. There's a pre-medical group too for people who are in college, which is called MAPS, and basically we support each other. We have conferences that we go to where
Wow.
it's great. It's very collegial. We talk about the research that we've been doing in and out of school. We talk about what it's like to be a Black person in medicine, which is amazing. And sometimes we need those sort of communal experiences and to hear that we're not the only one who's going through these hardships, because it just makes it that much better to know that there are other people out there who are just like us. So yeah, SNMA has been such a godsend. And then I was actually one of the co-presidents of our chapter at
Okay.
BU.
Mm-hmm.
And we threw events for our school and had people come and learn about we about different aspects of being Black in the medical world. So not just us as medical students, but
Mm-hmm.
patients. What do patients experience? What does racism in medicine look like? How can we understand where a patient who may have mistrust in the medical community, how can we understand where they're coming from and meet them where they are when they come to the doctor? There are so many people that I know who purposely don't go and see their own doctor because they are afraid that they're going to be judged or mistreated, or you may have diabetes or hypertension and you don't want to feel like somebody's angry at you because you aren't eating what you're supposed to. It shouldn't be like that. You should be able to go to the doctor and feel supported in whatever goals that you have for your own health.
I experienced that before.
Mm, yeah.
I wanted to punch that guy like, wow, you supposed to be the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I need to tighten up, but I just a piece of garbage. The way you talking
Right.
to me, like,
Yeah. But that's why we
I
need
need
more
a
people. But that's why we need more people who are becoming doctors or PAs or nurse practitioners, so that people like you and me and our family members can go to the doctor and have somebody who understands them. Um, and even if they can't look like you, because there's just not enough of us, unfortunately, who are going to become
really.
doctors. They're just that's just the truth of the matter. There's not enough of us who are going to become doctors, and so
Oh, wow.
if students who aren't Black or Latino are in medical school, they should learn too about cultural differences and how to interact with people who do not look like them, so that you don't have to go to the doctor and feel judged.
Because I guess you never think about what's the ratio with doctors in that field.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere like 5% of
Wow.
doctors are African American, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it's much more than 5%.
Now, how was it coming up in high school, being where you knew your path was medicine?
Hmm.
What was that like being a high school student?
So I actually struggled a lot in high school, academically, because I worked in high school. Every weekend, almost every day after school,
Hmm.
the 3 o'clock bell would ring, and I would be on a bus. And then we have our like metro is called BART in the Bay Area. So I would be on a bus, the BART, and then another bus to get to work by 4:30. And then I'd be there until closing time, and then I'd go home. So as you can imagine, there's not a whole lot of time to do homework. And so I was never that kid who did a lot of homework. To the chagrin of my teachers, they weren't that happy with me. But I've always been smart, and I always did well on tests. I just never did my homework, and so I sort of struggled academically because of it.
What made you
Uh,
turn it around?
and then I turned it around. Yeah, I think college is interesting because now you are paying for it.
Yeah, it would suck for you to be there and
Yeah,
just wasting your time,
exactly.
getting all that money.
Yeah, exactly.
I think your friends will look at you like you might as
Right.
well just start a fire and just start throwing money in it because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Gotta go to
So,
class,
I
start
couldn't
studying.
I couldn't throw away those thousands of dollars and not do my homework by the time I got to college. And I think honestly by my senior year I started really trying to turn it around,
Okay.
because I knew I was going to college soon, and I was going to have to shape up, so I needed to focus more.
Okay. So far, you're about to graduate. What have you learned?
Ooh, what have I learned? I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that everything works out in the way that it's supposed to.
Okay.
I think we put so much pressure on ourselves, with all of these goals that we have. And I think it's so important to have goals, but
Hmm.
how we get there, I think, is so anxiety inducing. At least for me, it has been. Like I told you before, I knew I was going to be a doctor, but I never knew how I was going to get there. And so I tried to plan every single moment, and
Oh
nothing
wow.
I ever planned worked out ever. And yet here I am talking to you about to graduate and be a doctor in just a couple of months, right?
You
So it
make
all
God
worked
laugh
out,
all the time.
right? So it
What
all
you
worked out in
doing?
the way that it was supposed to. Um,
Okay.
and so I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned, to sit back and sort of enjoy the journey, because if it's meant for you, it will be for you, and you will have it. Um, and one day you're gonna look back and miss, or yeah, you're just going to think about all the things that you missed along the way because you were focused so hard on making sure that one specific thing happened, when really the end goal was going to be the same. You just had to write it out a little bit and be resilient. I know that's an easy thing to just say.
Oh
um
no, that's true.
yeah, but I think it's really important, for because setbacks are going to happen. They always do. Almost none of us can plan anything perfectly and have it go our way 100% of the time. And so if there's a setback and you don't bounce back, or pivot and find a new way to get to your goal, then you're going to be stuck. And I never wanted to be stuck. And so making sure that I was resilient and had, you know, another plan in my back
Hmm.
pocket, that was very beneficial for me.
Yeah, because I know I changed my major a few times over the years, and when I dropped out, went back,
Mm-hmm.
the head of music was like, "Go to graduate. Management is similar. Do that." I'm like, you know what? I like your thinking, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because I had like 20 more music class. Like, I'm gonna forever be a student.
Mm,
I can't do this.
yeah.
And
And
then
you
I
bring up a
granted,
you bring up a really good point. Having mentors is so important.
yeah.
Finding people who have your best interest at heart and can say, you're trying to do this thing, but I think you would fit this. Maybe you should try it. That's really helpful.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes, we like to think we know ourselves better than anyone else, but it's honestly really nice to have an outside perspective sometimes, because there are lots of things that we can't see from the inside.
And I had a friend like a big brother who told me in '04, like, why don't you do management? It seemed like the similar stuff with music. Man, I don't
Uh-huh.
know what you're talking about. I'm like, that was God trying to tell you something.
Yeah. And how
I
happy
blew it
how
up.
happy are you now?
Way better I got that piece of paper because Lord, I was sitting going. I'm thankful Wayne State paid for it, but 20-some years to get it because I kept changing and dropping out. Like, ooh, wait, that was a long journey.
Yeah.
But I do reflect on all the stuff I learned along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of people I knew, like, dang, I guess one day he gonna get it. He's still in there, like, man, what's taking so long?
Yeah.
But God got used for you. And there, you'll probably have the maturity you need for everything that's coming next.
Yeah. And none of it is a race, right?
Nope.
It's all in God's timing. I think for me, because I took those 3 years off, when I started at Morgan and I started over again as a freshman, all of my friends from high school were in their last year of college, and I felt like I was just being left behind.
Man, you talked to myself and I felt that. Felt like they all done before 02. I'm still.
Yeah.
I graduated 96. Wow, that's a loser, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta figure this out, Jeff.
Yeah. But then like the end result is really what's the most important.
Yep. Don't matter how long it takes.
And right, it doesn't. It literally, if you want it and you are willing to work for it, it shouldn't matter how long it's going to take you. You will have so many more experiences in the middle that are so valuable that by the time you get to the end, you can then just build upon everything that you've learned, and it's going to be so much sweeter. I don't think so. I'm 28 now. Had I gone all the way straight through, I think I would have been 25 and graduated medical school. I don't think I should have been a 25-year-old doctor. Me personally. Lots of people can and should be 25-year-old doctors. I don't think that would have been the best move for me. And so now I have the wisdom of 28. There's a lot of growth and just life lived that happened in those 3 years that I'm so proud that I have now at 28 to go on to my next phase of this journey that I certainly wouldn't have had if I was 25 and sitting across from you and going to do the same thing.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be an awesome doctor because that learned knowledge, man, is you in the mud, you figuring stuff out like, oh, okay. That's gonna be useful at some point. You might not think at that moment, but like down the road, like that's what I went through that, so I can deal with this. And that's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Last question, ask everyone. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
You have to find what you want. And you have to be okay with that changing several times over the course of your lifetime. But learn something new every day. In medicine, we talk about lifelong learning. That is this journey that we are on. We are lifelong learners because everything in medicine changes every couple of years. And so you have to be a lifelong learner. I think everybody should take that principle with them as part of their lives. Whatever it is that you do, learn something new every day. Because like I said before, what is for you is for you. And you will get it no matter what because it's all in God's plan. But if you're learning something new along the way, you will have so much more wisdom by the end that you could do anything.
That's some great advice right there. So whoever's gonna watch this episode, they're gonna keep going because of that them Yoda knowledge you throwing out there.
Yeah. I hope so. There's a lot of reasons to give up, but we have to find the reason that's going to keep us going and hold on to that.
Hey, you might need to write a book. Just saying. Just saying. Someone might need to read that in the medical field that's going. Like, she went through all that. She still got it. I could do it.
Yeah. If I can, anybody can.
You know?
That is the absolute truth.
This your first podcast?
This is, yeah.
How you like it?
I like it a lot. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
I did a lot of interviews for jobs recently, and so this is
awesome.
This is just a continuation. It feels like a continuation of all those interviews. It's really nice.
See?
Yeah, I like talking to people. So
you're gonna be in there like, all right, what are we doing? I'm the best choice. Let's get this cracking. Let's do it.
Listen, I find out next week, so
Oh, I'm believing you're gonna have it.
I find out next week. I'll probably, if whatever happens, I'll probably put it on my Twitter or something. But yeah, Friday is when I find out where I'm gonna go work for the next 5 to 7 years of my life.
Awesome. You're gonna change lives and save some lives.
Oh my gosh, I hope so.
Oh,
That's my plan.
Man, so I'm talking with you. I'm confident you got this covered.
Oh, thank you. And hopefully I can, inspire some young Black girls along the way.
Yeah.
Medicine needs us.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't know. I'm learning that we got people doing this medicine thing. It's real in these streets.
Yeah.
I'm with it. So I definitely want to thank medical student in general surgery, Sabreea Parnell, for sharing her story and her wisdom. Anyone that's watching, if she do it, I did it, you can do it. But you got to put the work in.
That's it.
Until next time, everybody.